A&P Powerplant Propeller section. Question: the primary purpose of the front and rear cones for propellers that are installed on splined shafts is to position the propeller hub on the splined shaft. Question: proper operation of electric de-icing boots on individual propeller blades may best be determined by feeling the sequence of boot heating and have an assistant observe the load meter indications. Question: what unit in the propeller anti-icing system controls the output of the pump? Rheostat. Question: after proper removal of aluminum blade damage, the affected surface should be polished with very fine sandpaper or crocus cloth. Question: which of the following forces or combination of forces operates to move the blades of a constant speed counterweight propeller to the high pitch position? Centrifugal force acting on the counterweights. Question: on most reciprocating multi-engine aircraft, automatic propeller synchronization is accomplished through the actuation of the propeller governors. Question: the aerodynamic force acting on a rotating propeller blade operating at a normal pitch angle tends to increase the pitch angle. Question: ice formation on a propeller blade will produce unbalance and vibration. Question: the primary purpose of a cuff on a propeller is to increase the flow of cooling air to the engine nacelle. Question: removal of propeller blade tips within type certificate data sheet limits when correcting a defect is a major repair. Question: which of the following generally renders an aluminum alloy propeller unrepairable? Transverse cracks of any size. Question: what normally prevents a heart cell compact propeller from going to feather when the engine is shut down on the ground? A latch mechanism composed of springs and lock pins. Question: why is the pulley stop screw on a propeller governor adjustable? To limit the maximum engine speed during takeoff. Question: a fixed pitch wooden propeller that has been properly installed and the attachment bolts properly torqued exceeds the out of track allowance by 1/16 of an inch. The excessive out of track condition may be corrected by placing shims between the inner flange and the propeller. Question: the primary reason for careful inspection and prompt repairing of minor surface defects such as scratches, nicks, gouges, etc. on aluminum alloy propellers is to prevent fatigue failure. Question: when the centrifugal force acting on the propeller governor flyweights overcomes the tension on the speeder spring, a propeller is in what speed condition? Overspeed. Question: how does the propeller overspeed governor on a turboprop engine decrease propeller RPM? As oil pressure increases, the servo piston is pushed forward and the feather spring is compressed. Question: which of the following is used to correct horizontal unbalance of a wood propeller? Solder. Question: the propeller blade angle is defined as the acute angle between the airfoil section chord line at the blade reference station in which of the following? The plane of rotation. Question. Propeller blade stations are measured from the hub centerline. Question. What method would be used to inspect an aluminum propeller blade when a crack is suspected? Die penetration. Question. Which of the following methods is used to straighten a bent aluminum propeller blade that is within repairable limits? Cold straightening only. Question. Maximum taper contact between crankshaft and propeller hub is determined by using bearing blue color transfer. Question. Manually feathering a hydromechanical propeller means to port governor oil pressure from the cylinder of the propeller. Cold straightening a bent aluminum propeller blade may be accomplished by an appropriately rated repair station or the manufacturer. Question. What is the purpose of an arbor used in balancing a propeller? To support the propeller on the balance knives. Question. Longitudinal, force and aft, clearance of constant speed propeller blades or cuffs must be at least half an inch between propeller parts and stationary parts of the aircraft. This clearance with the propeller blades feathered or in the most critical pitch configuration. Question. Propellers exposed to salt spray should be flushed with fresh water. Question. Geometric pitch of a propeller is defined as the effective pitch plus slippage. Question. Apparent engine roughness is often a result of propeller unbalance. The effect of an unbalanced propeller will usually be greater at high RPM. Question. Which of the following best describes the blade movement of a full feathering constant speed propeller that is in the low RPM position when the feathering action is begun? High pitch directly to feather position. Question. How does the aerodynamic twisting force affect operating propeller blades? It tends to turn the blades to a high blade angle. Question. Propeller fluid anti-icing systems generally use which of the following? Isopropyl alcohol. Question. The propeller governor controls the oil to and from the pitch changing mechanism. Question. Where are the high and low pitch stops of a Hamilton standard constant speed or two-position counterweight propeller located? In the counterweight assembly. Question. Which of the following best describes the blade movement of a propeller that is in the high RPM position when reversing action is begun? Low pitch directly to reverse pitch. Question. It is important that nicks in aluminum alloy propeller blades be repaired as soon as possible in order to eliminate stress concentration points. Question. Surface treatment to counter the effects of die penetration inspection on a propeller is accomplished by washing off with solvent. Question. Which of the following defects is cause for rejection of wood propellers? Bonding or separation of the trailing edge of the propeller blade. Question. The angle of attack of a rotating propeller blade is measured between the blade chord or face and which of the following? Relative airstream. Question. Propeller blade station numbers increase from hub center line to tip. Question. What controls the constant speed range of a constant speed propeller? The mechanical limits in the propeller pitch range. Question. What operational force tends to bend the propeller blades forward at the tip? Thrust bending force. Question. What will happen to the propeller blade angle and the engine RPM if the tension on the propeller governor control spring is increased? Blade angle will decrease and RPM will increase. Question. What is a function of the automatic propeller synchronizing system on a multi-engine aircraft? To control engine RPM and reduce vibration. Question. During the on-speed condition of a propeller, the centrifugal force of the governor flyweights is equal to the speeder spring force. Question. Which of the following functions requires the use of a propeller blade station? Measuring blade angle. Question. Minor surface damage located in a repairable area, but not on the leading or trailing edges of aluminum blades, may be repaired by first filing with a riffle file. Question. One of the advantages of inspecting an aluminum propeller utilizing die penetration inspection procedure is that it shows whether visible lines and other marks are actually cracks rather than scratches. Question. The pitch changing mechanism of the hydromatic propeller is lubricated by the pitch changing oil. Question. The primary purpose of a propeller is to change engine horsepower to thrust. Question. Why is a constant speed counterweight propeller normally placed in full high pitch position before the engine is stopped? To prevent exposure and corrosion of the pitch changing mechanism. Question. What is the result of moving the throttle on a reciprocating engine when the propeller is in the constant speed range with the engine developing cruise power? Opening the throttle will cause an increase in blade angle. Question. What is the primary purpose of the metal tipping which covers the blade tips and extends along the leading edge of each wood propeller blade? To prevent impact damage to the tip and leading edge of the blade. Question. Most engine propeller combinations have one or more critical ranges within which continuous operation is not permitted. Critical ranges are established to avoid severe propeller vibration. Question. Blade angle is an angle formed by a line perpendicular to the crankshaft and a line formed by the chord of the blade. When running up an engine and testing a newly installed hydromatic propeller, it is necessary to exercise the propeller by moving the governor control through its entire travel several times to free the dome of any entrapped air. Question. During engine operation at speeds lower than those for which the constant speed propeller control can govern in the increase RPM position, the propeller will remain in the full low pitch position. Question. If a flanged propeller shaft has dowel pins, the propeller can only be installed in a given position. Question. When lubricating a newly overhauled steel hub propeller, you should lubricate the propeller after 1 to 2 hours of operation. Question. Grease used in aircraft propellers reduces the frictional resistance of moving parts and is easily molded into any form under pressure. This statement defines anti-friction and plasticity characteristics of grease. Question. During which of the following conditions of flight will the blade pitch angle of a constant speed propeller be the greatest? High speed, high altitude, cruising flight. Question. If propeller cones or hub cone seats show evidence of galling and wear, the most likely cause is the propeller retaining nut was not tight enough during previous operation. Question. The actual distance a propeller moves forward through the air during one revolution is known as the effective pitch. Question. What action takes place when the cockpit control lever for a hydromatic constant speed propeller is actuated? Compression of the speeder spring is changed. Question. What type of imbalance will cause a two-blade propeller to have a persistent tendency to come to rest in a horizontal position with the blades parallel to the ground, while being checked on a propeller balancing beam? Vertical. Question. How is the oil pressure delivery on a hydromatic propeller normally stopped after the blades have reached their full feathered position? Electric cutout pressure switch. Question. Inspection of aluminum propeller blades by dye penetration inspection is accomplished to detect fatigue failure. Question. The blade angle of a fixed pitch propeller is smallest at the tip. Question. Which of the following statements concerning the installation of a new fixed pitch wood propeller is true? Inspect the bolts for proper torque after the first flight and after the first 25 hours of flying. Question. What operational force causes the greatest stress on a propeller? Centrifugal force. Question. An aircraft's propeller system beta range is used to produce zero or negative thrust. Question. Oil leakage around the rear cone of a hydromatic propeller usually indicates a defective spider shaft oil seal. Question. Then The centrifugal twisting moment of an operating propeller tends to reduce the pitch angle. Question. Number 1. During takeoff, propeller thrust pull is greatest if the blade angle of attack is low and the engine power setting is high. 2. With the aircraft stationary, propeller thrust is greatest if the blade angle of attack is high and the engine power setting is high. Regarding the above statements, only one is true. Question. Counterweights on constant speed propellers are generally used to aid in increasing blade angle. Question. For takeoff, a constant speed propeller is normally set in the low pitch, high RPM position. Question. What actuates the pilot valve in the governor of a constant speed propeller? Governor flyweights. Question. How is anti-icing fluid ejected from the slinger ring on a propeller? By centrifugal force. Question. The primary purpose of a feathering propeller is to eliminate the drag created by a windmilling propeller when an engine fails in flight. Question. Propeller blade tracking is the process of determining the positions of the tips of the propeller blades relative to each other. Question. Which of the following statements about constant speed counterweight propellers is also true when referring to two-position counterweight propellers? Blade angle changes are accomplished by the use of two forces, one hydraulic and the other centrifugal. Question. Which of the following is identified as a cambered or curved side of a propeller blade corresponding to the upper section of a wing airfoil section? Blade back. Question. Which of the following occurs to cause front cone bottoming during propeller installation? The front cone contacts the ends of the shaft splines, preventing the front and rear cones from being tightened against the cone seats in the propeller hub. Question. How is a propeller controlled in a large aircraft with a turboprop installation? By the engine power lever. Question. What is the basic purpose of the three small holes, number 60 drill, in the tipping of wood propeller blades? To allow the moisture which may collect between the tipping and the wood to escape. Vent the tipping. Question. What are the rotational speed and blade pitch angle requirements of a constant speed propeller during takeoff? High speed and low pitch angle. Question. Propeller aerodynamic thrust imbalance can be largely eliminated by correct blade contouring and angle setting. Question. In what position is the constant speed propeller control placed to check the magnetos. Full increase low propeller blade pitch angle. Question. A propeller synchrophasing system allows a pilot to reduce noise and vibration by adjusting the phase angle between the propellers on an aircraft's engines. Question. When engine power is increased, the constant speed propeller tries to function so that it will maintain the RPM, increase the blade angle, and maintain a low angle of attack. Question. How is aircraft electrical power for propeller de-icer systems transferred from the engine to the propeller hub assembly? By slip rings and brushes. Question. A constant speed propeller provides maximum efficiency by adjusting blade angle for most conditions encountered in flight. Question. On aircraft equipped with hydraulically operated constant speed propellers, all ignition and magneto checking is done with the propeller in which position? High RPM. Question. When lubricating a Hartzell propeller blade with grease to prevent damage to the blade seals, the service manual may recommend on some models to remove one of the two Zerk fittings for the blade and grease the blade through the remaining fitting. Question. The low pitch stop on a constant speed propeller is usually set so that the engine will turn at its rated takeoff RPM at sea level when the throttle is opened to allowable takeoff manifold pressure. Question. Which of the following determines oil and grease specifications for lubrications of propellers? Propeller manufacturer's instructions. Question. If a blade of a particular metal propeller is shortened because of damage to the tip, the remaining blades must be reduced to conform with the shortened blade. Question. Which of the following defects is cause for rejection of wood propellers? An oversized hub or bolt hole or elongated bolt holes. Question. The holding coil on a hydromatic propeller feathering button switch holds a solenoid relay closed that applies power to the propeller. Feathering pump motor. Question. The purpose of a three-way propeller valve is to direct oil from the engine oil system to the propeller cylinder. Question. What operational force tends to increase propeller blade angles? Aerodynamic twisting force. Question. The application of more protective coating on one blade than the other when refinishing a wood propeller may be necessary to achieve final balancing. Question. Repairs of aluminum alloy adjustable pitch propellers are not permitted to be made on which of the following propeller blade areas? Shank. Question. The centrifugal twisting force acting on a propeller blade is greater than the aerodynamic twisting force and tends to move the blade to a lower angle. Question. During operational check of an aircraft using hydromatic full feathering propellers, the following observations are made. The feather button, after being pushed, remains depressed until the feather cycle is complete, then opens. When unfeathering, it is necessary to manually hold the button down until unfeathering is accomplished. Both feather and unfeather cycle are functioning properly in this scenario. Question. The purpose of permanently sealing and partially filling some models of Macaulay proper hubs with dyed oil is to make the location of cracks readily apparent. Question. Propeller blade angle is the angle between chord of the blade and the rotational plane of the propeller. Question. Constant speed non-feathering Macaulay, Hartzell, and other propellers of similar design without counterweights increase pitch angle using oil pressure. Question. What is indicated when the front cone bottoms while installing a propeller? Rear cone should be moved forward. Question. When preparing a propeller blade for inspection, it should be cleaned with mild soap and water. Question. The thrust produced by a rotating propeller is a result of an area of decreased pressure immediately in front of the propeller blades. Question. Which of the following best describes the blade movement of a feathering propeller that is in the high RPM position when the feathering action is begun? Low pitch through high pitch to feather position. Question. Generally, unless otherwise specified by the manufacturer, repairs of nicks, scratches, gouges, etc. on aluminum propeller blades must be made parallel to the length of the blade. Question. Statement 1. A mechanic's certificate with a Powerplant rating authorizes the holder to repair deep scars, nicks, and dents on aluminum propeller blades. Statement 2. A mechanic's certificate with a Powerplant rating authorizes the holder to perform minor straightening of steel propeller blades. Regarding the above statements, neither 1 nor 2 is true. Question. A power plant using a hydraulically controlled constant speed propeller is operating within the propeller's constant speed range at a fixed throttle setting. If the tension of the propeller governor control spring is reduced by movement of the cockpit propeller control, the propeller blade angle will increase, engine manifold pressure will increase, and engine RPM will decrease. Question: how can a steel propeller hub be tested for cracks? By magnetic particle inspection. Question: how is the speed of a constant speed propeller changed in flight? By changing the load tension against the flyweights in the governor. Question: what operational force causes propeller blade tips to lag in the opposite direction of rotation? Torque bending force. That is the FAA A&P Powerplant quiz guide for the propeller section only.